Welcome back to How I See It. Photography isn't real life to me. It's something that I do that makes real life even better. The day job is busy enough and demanding enough. There's enough real life in my real life that actually the photography is a key part of what I do because it adds that sweetener. It helps me to do the real life everyday job. I haven't been out hundreds of times as a street photographer in the last year, and I've got few images that I'm really proud of from the last year. 2024 for me was quite a challenging year. It's the year that I started this video channel, which meant that when I did go out I was wandering around with a GoPro in one hand and the camera in the other, and I was perhaps split between the two as to what I was looking at, and then therefore maybe came away without quite so much. It's also a time when I perhaps travelled less. I know in other years I've been to some more exciting, exotic places. You know, I think back 18 months ago to when I was shooting street in Chicago or Toronto. I didn't have those opportunities this year. I had fewer opportunities to shoot because of the demands of the day job. So really for me, 2024 has been quite challenging. So today, really what I want to do is look back on just 6 images that I took last year, colour images. Black and white I'll save for another time. It's the end of the year, so in many ways it feels like the right time to be doing it. However, it also kind of feels like the wrong time to be doing it because I haven't even looked at images I took in November and December yet. I tend to like to leave my images to marinate, to soak, to fester, whatever it is you might want to say. I leave them alone for a bit because I find that objectivity that time lends by me not going straight in and fiddling with photos that I took a couple of hours ago when I'm desperate to make them work. I find that giving them a bit of time and space often helps me to be a much better judge of what works and what doesn't. So I'm going to share with you half a dozen colour images that I took in 2024, and let's get cracking. Okay, so first image, this one. This was Bamburgh Beach in Northumberland in the United Kingdom. Apparently Britain's most popular beach or most beautiful beach, I don't know. Anyway, it's a winner. It was a fantastic place. There's a huge castle behind these people further back on the beach and beautiful golden sands. It was a really lovely August day. What I really like about this, well, several things I really like about it. I like the blues in the water, the blues in the sky, the blues in the clothes the people are wearing. The umbrella, is it an umbrella, is it a parasol? Anyway, it's a sky blue. It's a lovely colour. So the blues give it a really nice, I suppose it should be a cold tone being blue, but actually it's a warm summer's day and you can see that from the pale blues and the sky blues. I love the wispy clouds in the sky. They're not clearly delineated. There's a real softness to them. I love the harshness and the sharpness of this figure here, who kind of gives the image a bit of a frame. The lines in his shirt, down to the sandals he's wearing. There's an almost a kind of 1980s feel to him, and he leads us into all of the other characters, and they're separated. I've said before in videos that I really like it when individual people are separated and not touching. It's a little bit of contact here, father and daughter, and I suppose that guy's hand is up close against the foreground of the man's leg. To me, it has an almost nostalgic feel to it, really, for happy days, summertime. It's just a nice, clean, classic beach image. And I also kind of like the fact that nobody here is clearly identifiable, because it means that this is the kind of image you could put on your wall without people saying, and who's that? And who's that? And who are they? Because we don't know who they are. They aren't specific people. They just represent people on a beach in August. So that's the first image of my 6. And now for something completely different, as they say. This image, much more abstract, obviously in a city. Let's talk about it. So this was taken actually just a few weeks after the previous one, but in London. And this is at the back of Faringdon station. It's not one that's yet featured in a video, although there is a video waiting in the wings if it ever gets to make an entry. But looking over a wall down across to the station, I was faced with this view, which I really like. I love the regular rhythm of the design of the building in the background, with the white, I don't think they're tiles, but these white panels and the windows where you sometimes get a reflection of sky, you sometimes get a reflection of other windows, making a nice pattern in there. And I like how this very rigid, formal, checkered pattern really is broken up by this zigzag roof and this zigzag stairway. The eye is led in, I guess, along the way that the feet would go. So from the side down the right and then down the steps. And I also really like this pop of bright red over here, another building. So it's almost abstract. It takes a little bit of time for the eye to really work out what it's all about. And I like the way the eye travels through the image. So that's my second choice, and in sharp contrast really to the beach scene you saw a moment ago. The third image is this one, taken in London on Halloween. And this is right in central London. It's in a little road that cuts between Piccadilly and Regent Street. I happened to see these two girls, and if you can see, they've got their faces made up for Halloween. Lots of eye makeup and great big sort of grotesque grins of makeup added to their otherwise pretty faces. And there are lots of things I like about this actually. I like the fact that they're taking a selfie. It's a light-hearted moment of the two of them. There's a theatricality to it because of all the makeup. I like the light from the screen that illuminates their faces, just a bit of a glow, because otherwise it is really quite a dark image. I really like the shadows that you've got behind, which are coming from Regent Street over here, people walking past. It was quite a busy evening, and their shadows are being projected onto the wall behind them, almost like ghostly figures looking in at their Halloween costume. And they're positioned on a third. You've also got this lamppost here, which is also on a third and comes between the photographer, hey, that was me, and the two girls sitting there. So it gives you an impression of somebody actually looking in, because it breaks up the scene. It would have been quite tempting to move to one side and leave the pole out, but actually I think it works having it there. And I like the detail and the textures that you've got, not just in the lamppost here, but the handle and the lock in the wall behind, the scratchy marks on the paint work of the walls and the doors behind. There's a little bit of graffiti over here scratched into the old stone, and you've got that wonderful mix of the old stonework, the sort of rather grand old stonework, and then bits of an electricity connection here, and these much more shabby urban doors that come in behind. And I like the contrast, because, as I said earlier, it's a dark image, but the light is definitely on their two young faces and pulling those sort of pouts and grins that we see so often in selfies. It's such a familiar pose for the 2024. Next up is this one, which I have featured before and was from Cambridge earlier in the year. I like this image really because it's one of those occasions when the street photography gods were just smiling on me. Obviously because you've got the blue and white stripes of the awning here, which meet the blue and white stripes of the woman's umbrella. You'd have to wait a long time for that kind of coincidence to happen, I think. So I was really lucky. And also you've got the same sort of sandy brown tones in her trousers and her bag as you have in the wet pavement, the wet flagstones, and the beigey browns of King's College behind here. So the colours are really in tune with each other, mostly blues and browns. I think what inspired me to take it was actually Saul Leiter. I've always, well, everybody loves Saul Leiter, but I've always liked his images where he's had a large amount of something, whether it's an awning or a curtain or something coming down or to one side in a frame, which is kind of counterintuitive because you would think that the picture was really about the woman walking through it, and really what you should do is focus on that bit. But what Leiter does is he often uses these as a device to draw the eye to that particular thing. And I was looking to do something like that, or exactly that, with this image. I possibly should have been using even more of it, maybe bringing the awning down to about this kind of height so that she just appears in that gap there. Maybe it would have given me, maybe I wanted more than half the image to be the awning. But nonetheless, this is what it is, and that's what I was aiming to do. So yeah, it really is about the coincidence, and I think the message in that really is that the more you shoot, the more you get out and shoot, the more those street photography gods seem to turn up. You know, you very much do make your own luck, and the more you're out there, the luckier you get. Image number 5 is this one. It's also something you've seen before in a fairly recent video. So no apologies for sharing it again, because this is, hey, the greatest hits show. Abstract, it is fairly hard to work out exactly what this is, but here we have a road as indicated by the white markings down the centre. And so I suppose it is literally street photography, but what I did here was slow the shutter speed down. It would be good if I could go back and tell you, and perhaps I can put that on the screen for you, but I think it was down to about a quarter of a second, half a second, on this cycle track where lights were moving through, bikes were moving through, so the red rear lights and the white front lights. So it's a really simple image just for cyclists moving through at the same time over about a quarter to half a second, and really reducing the road to the basic components of the black tarmac, the white lines and the lights of the 4 bicycles. But to me, I like the composition, I like the negative space, I like the abstraction. I like the fact that the bicycle lights become what almost look like marker pens of colour going through the image, and that kind of also resonates with the white stripes of the road markings. So it's an image I'm actually inordinately pleased with, which is stupid because it was so simple, but sometimes the simplest things work best, and I guess I had to see it in the first place. So yeah, there we go. My final choice is one that you have seen before. In fact, one of my more recent videos about Brittany is this one. I think it might be my favourite image of the year. Yeah, I mean, that's a really hard thing to say, because even when I was drawing up a short list of which images I wanted to use for this video, it changed all the time. And if I made this video again tomorrow or next week, it would probably be 3 or 4 different images. But I think this one would still be in there. It's one that I'm particularly pleased with, and probably mainly because you get that separation between all of the people in it. And it's not just 1, 2, 3 people. You've got a significant number of people here, all of whom just about, you could argue that they're close, but there's no real overlap.
just about everybody here is in their own space and doing their own things. It's a real snapshot, pardon the pun, of life today on a beach. So you've got little chap here in his own world, you've got the dad kind of looking at his daughter but not, kind of switched off, she's doing her own thing. You've got mum here on her phone, little one here wandering off, dad here on his phone. Everybody is kind of self-contained, even right down to this person. I don't know whether you can really see that, but right on the water's edge. I like how the frame is divided up, so you've got the bright green of the grass down here. You've then got probably about 2/3 of the image, which is this sandy beach, until it becomes wet sand and then sea, and then you've got these grey clouds. I love that grey beige beach palette. And I love the beach furniture you've got here, not just the ring fence or the rope, whatever it is, that cuts the image almost exactly in half, but these swings here and the climbing apparatus, the frame here, give us a couple of areas for the people to focus. And you've got the bright colours of the things that they're wearing, which I think pop really nicely against that dull grey and the beigey sand. So you've got the reds and the greens here, the red coat, the orange jacket, purple dress, which are really pingy, poppy colours. And I just, yeah, it's an image I'm really pleased with. So yeah, that was a bit of a canter through 2024 in 6 colour images. There will be a companion video to follow this one, which will be 6 black and white images. And even some of them, when I originally thought about them, they were going to appear in this colour slot. But the more I thought about it, the more I thought, actually, let's try those in black and white. So, you know, as I was saying about choosing the images, it's always really difficult because tastes change and opinions change and moods change, and from one day to the next, even 1 minute to the next, I'm quite often thinking, actually, let's put that one in instead. So not the greatest year for me for street photography. I've really enjoyed doing the channel. I hope you've enjoyed watching it as well. Thanks for all your comments. I know that the part where I actually sit down and talk through the images is a part that a lot of you have commented on and seem to enjoy and value. So I hope that you found that useful today. Please do share the channel with your friends. If you've enjoyed this video, give me the traditional thumbs up, and if you're enjoying the series, then please do subscribe. And I look forward to sharing the black and white versions of my favourite photos. Actually, they're not black and white versions of these photos, they're 6 different but black and white images. I look forward to sharing them with you soon. Take care.